Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want. And those are your headphones. If you want to wear them. Try them on. I think it sounds cool. Check. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you can hear yourself too.
Hello? Whoa. That's kind of cool.
So we'll go for an hour. If we can. Okay. An hour or something like that. See how it goes.
Sounds good.
When I had Connor on, it was like a really good podcast. But the problem is, I was getting my hair cut from my cousin Jill.
Yeah.
And she watches it. And the way I've been thinking is like when I have people on, like, oh yeah, sorry, it's a short cable. Whenever I have people on, I figure the people watching already know, already know who you are and stuff. But then, like, my cousin Jill watches. Yeah. My cousin Jill doesn't know who any of my friends are, you know?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, so she was like, oh, you should have introduced Connor, because I like really enjoyed the podcast. But the whole time I was like, who the hell is this guy? She was like, I gathered that you guys were friends or have been friends for a long time, but I was like, she's like, I have no idea who that Connor was.
You should just come up with some crazy, funny, random story. Just make him like a back alley or something.
But yeah, so I figured I'd start this one. Like, when did we first meet? We first met in high school, in grade 10.
Yeah, 2010 or 2000.
Yeah, grade 10 at Lindsay Thurber High School.
2009.
It's my friend Craig C.
I'm Craig C.
Craig C.
Hello.
And yeah, we met in high school, grade 10. And
it's
weird.
Time.
It's weird always thinking of like how friends first meet. You can never really remember exactly how or when you became friends, because when you first meet, you're not friends yet.
No.
You know what I mean?
You're just some random person that
you
just
that's
become acquainted with.
Yeah, so that's when you first meet. But I have no idea when we became friends. You know, we just became friends.
I think we were kind of already friends.
Yeah, I think as soon as we met each other, it was evident that we were going to be pretty good friends.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for the beer.
No problem. Thanks for having me over.
No problem. That was a pretty good surprise. You just texted me like 3 hours ago or something and said, what's your address? I was like, this is my address. Are you in town? And you came over. We had a barbecue. I'm still pretty stuffed. Had some hamburgers.
Me too.
And yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, you just had stitches on your chin.
Yeah, just got those off
from a grinding disc exploding in your face.
Yeah.
So you said, like, when you were grinding, were you laying on your back?
No, I was standing up.
You were standing up?
Yeah, I had a forklift above me with the bandsaw on it. And the leg broke off, so I was cutting it. Yeah. And I was cutting that off, and you know, sometimes the disc just blew up. And that one went right through my helmet, went into my chin.
And you said it felt like you got hit by a truck when it hit you.
Oh yeah, definitely felt like I got hit by a truck. It was a big bang, and just like
face mask flying.
Yeah, my face mask was like hard hat combo. Sent it flying like 20 feet in the back. Yeah.
See, the way you said it happened, like, because you said like the grinding disc so it was a brand new disc, like a cutting disc, and it just touched the metal and exploded.
Yeah, I made my first cut, which was a pretty small cut. Did it all right. It went to just literally touch it to the metal. Guess I touched it to the wrong spot because it blew up in my face.
That's like a perfect example of like why you should just always, because in my head, and I've like welded for like quite a few years too, and like cut things tons of times. And the way I always thought it, I was like, don't get the disc, like if you're cutting deep,
don't get a wedge.
Yeah, don't get it wedged. That's when it explodes. And that's the only time I've ever had one explode.
But you can feel it when it's gonna blow up too. When you like when you're in a deep cut and you're going, you can feel it. Like your piece of metal pinching on it. You can feel it. So I was trying to pull back, and it's funny too because I've had like No, I've not been wearing any PPE whatsoever. And hadn't blown up in my face too.
Oh really? Not even safety glasses.
Yeah, but I knew it was gonna happen.
Okay.
Because I could feel it, and it's and you're trying to pull out, and it just blows up. But
so you kind of like braced yourself.
Yeah, I caught him in my shoulder, but I've never had it hunk out like that.
Yeah, that's scary. When you showed me the picture of, when you sent me the picture of it, like how it just cut through your welding mask, and that goes to show too. Like I always thought a welding mask,
it was a bullet,
was the same as a
no.
Like, do you think even if you were wearing like an actual face shield, it would have blown through it? Probably
would have made the face shield deflect and go right into my throat.
Oh Jesus!
Because it was right on my chin.
Yeah, that's right.
It was like right above my head.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have shattered the face shield. Yeah, it would have probably deflected.
That's what I think.
It into your throat
or my chest or something.
Jesus.
It go through my main artery, even neck or something.
Yeah.
I'm glad I caught it on the chin.
God, it probably would have felt similar, like how you were saying. You're like, oh my God, did my throat get cut or something?
Yeah.
I bet you it would have felt the same.
But you would have been like.
The only difference would have been, is that you were like, you would have died or something.
You just I knew I was okay.
Because when it happened, did you like feel it go into your chin, or it was just bang?
It was just like bang, and I had my grinder and like looked at it, and it was still spinning. You can see when it's missing pieces.
Oh God!
And thin. And I was like, looked at it, sit down, and then looked back. My heart had like 15, 20 feet in the parking lot, like by the cars. Holy shit! Turn around. Just dripping blood.
It's always those times too. When something happens, that's always when your grinder gets locked into the on position. Sometimes you're trying to put it on and you can't put it on.
No,
but when shit goes wrong, that's when it locks on.
I know, right? But I'm always end up like holding it. I'll just like hold it, and then we're like, okay. Or sometimes you're grinding and you're going, and it won't even like there'd be some like a little spot missing out of one. You can see it when it's spinning.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a good disc, so you just kind of...
Yeah, like I've continued to cut with discs with chips out of them because they're still going fine.
It's just a zip disc.
Yeah.
Zip discs are known to blow up sometimes.
Oh, that was a zip disc?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it wasn't
a big hunk. It wasn't a hard stone at all.
Oh, okay. It
wasn't thick. It was just zip disc because it was making a cut.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just touched it and exploded.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's scary. I had I forget what it was. I had like one of those giant grinders.
Mm-hmm. The big ones.
Yeah, and I think I had a big thick cutting disc on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're almost thick enough that you can sort of use them as like a grinding disc instead of cutting. Like it's thick enough to do that. And then I was in the back of this gravel truck and I was trying to cut out, like they have the metal like rolled into the back of the truck and it's like all welded there. Mm-hmm. And we were like trying to cut out a big piece and then we were going to weld in a new piece. And I was like trying to cut this weld. And it was the last little bit of the weld at the bottom, but it was still welded at the top. And then as soon as it cut the weld and my disc was inside, the plate just like grabbed onto the disc, and it was the same thing. Bang!
And that's a thick disc.
And I remember my hands were in the same position as if I was holding the grinder, but the grinder was gone. Bang! Like that. Yeah.
Oh
and it just cut, like I still have like little scars on my fingers from when it happened.
Oh goodness.
But I think I was lucky. And just like these little, it was like I was lucky. Just like exploded, big giant disc and everything, and then just had these little cuts. But it went through my gloves.
Oh yeah.
So like I was wearing gloves when it happened. Went through my gloves. So like I think you're like super lucky.
Yeah. The only thing I think that would have stopped that, because it was like pretty much a bullet at that point.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, would have been like a leather face mask, like a leather cover on top of the actual welder. Like of the actual face mask, or just like a leather skin. Yeah. Like riveted to it or something.
Yeah.
And then it'd probably stop that.
You gonna do that?
Yeah.
You're gonna do that?
I actually already got like a piece of stainless steel. It's kind of thick, a little bit. Put it over top of it. And I'll use that helmet when it like.
That'll look sick too.
Yeah. Just stop that.
And people always be asking you why you have that, and you'll be like, show them the pictures and the scar.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where are you living now? You're just about to move out of where you're living now. Mm-hmm. And where are you gonna? You said you're like
trying to go for Trochu.
Trochu, yeah. Mm-hmm. But right now you're kind of you're camping on and off, like where you're staying.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where exactly is that? You said it's like close to Trochu, but it's like kind of out.
Yeah, it's off this highway, and then just kind of this one spot where you can go down a gravel road. And, and it's like a perfect place. And,
and you just like in kind of a valley type thing, or is it like up on a hill or
up and down? Yeah, it's in like I don't know. It's in like the coulees and it's in the Badlands, I guess. You know.
Damn, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, so do you drive out into like so there isn't a road where you're going, or there is a road?
It's a road, and then you go down, and then I
and then
went and asked the farmer to see if he let me stay on it. So it's pretty good.
So you just drove around and you found like the farmhouse closest to there or something, and just like walked up.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool. And you're just sleeping inside your vehicle?
Yeah, but I'm making a thing in the box, which camper and welding it all up. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
So right now you're sleeping. When did you sleep in your vehicle last?
Huh?
When did you sleep out there last?
Probably like 3-4 days ago.
Damn.
Yeah, I stayed in my house, so.
Yeah.
And
then. Damn, that's sick.
Did MLB.
Just camping under the stars.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I was
playing the banjo.
Yeah. I love that thing.
We'll have to try and jam.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to go to bed probably after this. But maybe we'll stay up for a little bit.
Maybe in a bit.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny too. I was thinking, what am I gonna say? You know, because he asked me, you should do a podcast. And actually, that's sweet. And it kind of got me thinking, like, whoa, seen everyone else what they're talking about and everything. Yeah. Like, what do I talk about? You know, I'm thinking this. I'm like, well, I got a lot of stuff I could talk about.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I know, you know, and then it just so happened that I stopped at the store, you know, pack of cigarettes just down the road from your house or whatever, and I stopped there, and there's this old man, he's a homeless man, and so I went in and got my cigarettes, and he was talking to this other guy who had this an 82 Ford F-250.
Yeah,
it was like nice and fresh and just like painted green, like, beautiful. Nice. And he was having troubles with his tires. I was trying to get his tires to fit, and I was like, start talking. I was like, if you don't want to cut them out, and you know, then just reduce your rim size and like make them fit.
Yeah.
And so because he's looking at my tires and rims, because I own a 93 Ford F-150.
Yeah.
And so they were just talking, and he was like, well, what do you do for work? You know, and I was like, well, I'm apprenticing as a millwright, you know, at the slaughterhouse. And you know, and I weld all the time and everything. And I'm like, so Mr. Millwright, And I started calling him Mr. Millwright. And they're talking, and they're, you know, looking at my truck and his truck and just comparing them because he liked mine, I liked his, you know. Because
what year is yours?
93.
93, and his is 82. That's kind of a cool comparison.
Yeah. And it's just like, I guess they changed the bumpers, eh? You know, went off, and then that guy left, and so I was still standing there, and the homeless man, he said, you know.
Oh, and then a homeless man came up?
No, he was standing there the whole time. He was talking to us, too. He was talking to us, and with the other guy, too, and he goes up, and he says to him, he's like, you got a cigarette? And I was like, here's two. He's like, there you go. He's like, do you want to, like, can I tell something to you? And I go, oh, yeah. And we're just, like, talking, you know. We were talking before, kind of. And he's like, so you work and all this? And he's, you know, he's asking me questions about where I work and what I do and everything like that. And then we were going, and I was telling him, you know, actually we're still working for my old company as well. And a little bit here when I don't work, when I have days off. So I'm kind of working a lot. Yeah. And he goes, can I say something? And he's like, it took me 67 years to figure this out. Yeah. And I go, yeah, sure.
Hell yeah. Lay it on.
Yeah, man. Like, well, it's like, you messaged, you said you had hamburgers there. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, Wyatt, but yeah, you know, like we're cooking hamburgers, and it was right after I dropped off Luke, because that's why I came down here and just dropped my friend off. Yeah. I was meeting up with someone, and you know, and they so I dropped him off, and then went to the store to get like GPS and a cigarettes to get to your house, because I don't know Edmonton in the back of my hand. So I go, and and he's just, anyways, he starts talking to me, like, goes on, says, he's like, well, he's like, I'll tell you a couple things. I'm like, okay. And he says, number one, he says, don't trust anybody. He says, don't trust anybody, you know. And he goes on and he goes, don't trust anyone. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, and especially don't trust women. he's like, he goes on. He's like, he's trying to think and how to talk. And I'm kind of same as I'm doing right now because, you know, I was trying to listen to him and remember everything he was telling me. And he goes on and so he goes and he's like, yeah, but, you know, you have friends. And he's like, keep your friends small. And close to you. And only don't trust people, like, because people are messed up, you know. People, you can, and he goes on, he says, you know, everybody, you are the only person that thinks the way you do. And that's what he says. You are the only person that thinks the way you do. And he's like, does that make sense to you? And I go, yeah. And he keeps going on. He says, because everybody is their own person. You will never meet anybody that thinks the same way as you do. The exact same way as you do. And, you know, he goes, some people are extremely trustworthy and some people are not trustworthy at all. And just in the way they're going to do things. And, like, possibly, you know, he goes, so if I offered you a ride, or if you asked me for a ride and I was to drive me to a certain spot, I would say, okay, I'll drive you to a certain spot. And you will never know unless sometimes you can have immediate glances like we were talking about before. Knowing that, like, someone's intentions, but
just like the smallest flicker
who they are
gives you a bad feeling, maybe. Or maybe the other way, a good feeling.
Exactly. A certain feeling, an energy or whatever. And you can, and sometimes, you know, there's an immediate connection. Sometimes there's not. And you can a lot of times tell people are
good or bad or off or something.
And he's like, it's up to you whether you're gonna rob me or not. Take my truck, take everything I own, understand it. You know. And he goes, and so there's evil in the world, right? And he's like, I'm not saying any of this exactly how he's saying, because he just got into it. Like, it was crazy. And he just gets into it and starts talking about, like, evil and good and evil, and how they're like, we can't see them, or we can't physically see them, but we can feel them.
They're there,
and they're in, like, a different realm, essentially. He kind of says, you know, and something we can't see or even possibly, like, feel. We can feel it, but we can't feel it. And this, like, love and hate and kindness and all this and that, and this is
wow.
I don't know. It's
that's crazy. And that there's, like, something to be said about, like, there's something you can learn, because some people may have looked at that person and gone, like this guy's, like, there's nothing to learn from this guy.
He's a homeless man. He goes on and tells me, he says, he asked me 2 questions. He says, don't answer them. Don't tell me them. Just nod when you understand. And he goes, there's been one thing your whole life that just bugs you deep down. And it just gets to you. And you've been dealing with it your whole life. And you just hate it. And he made me think of that one thing. When I tell you to do this, think of that one thing. And once you get it, you get it. And then he goes, but now think of there's again a second thing. And the second thing is,
can you bring your mic a little closer? You can just bring it closer to you if you want. You can stay laying back.
Cool. Okay. And the second thing is, there's one thing that you've absolutely loved. Your whole life. It's your favorite thing in the world. It's one thing. what? And then he said, think of that.
Yeah.
And
but so like when he's saying this to you, you're not saying anything. He just told you to nod, just to nod when.
Yeah, because it was fairly immediate when I thought of it. He said the one thing that you just bugs you your whole life, and then one thing that you absolutely love about life in your whole life, the your favorite thing in the world, and so and then he compares them and he says, "There's good and evil in the world." Yeah, and he's like, "I am not a religious man at all in any way, shape, or form, but I believe in good and evil. Yeah. And I believe the devil is here. He's among us. Like when he fell and he's like, I'm not a religious man. He did not look like a religious man at all. Yeah. Dirty-ish as all heck, Yeah. And so yeah, but he's talking and he said that, well, obviously like kind of talked about the Bible a little bit. Yeah. And how the devil like got here from Adam and Eve, and all about that, and how there's a war in heaven and everything, and it was a war between good and evil, and he was explaining how when in the Bible how it says the evil god here was a snake, it was a snake, the most beautiful snake in the world, and convinced him to eat the apples and everything. Yeah, he's like, it's no longer a snake, he's like the devil.
Yeah. As soon as it starts talking, then it's like...
He's not the most beautiful snake you'll ever meet. Yeah. The devil is in the huge corporations. It's in the governments. It's in every single government. Yeah. It's in everything, and it's in everyone. He said it may not, actually be... This is what we just call it, as devil. Mm-hmm. What else do you call it, I guess? Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of words for it.
No, I totally agree with that. Like if you look at like tell somebody who's been like a heroin addict for 10 years, tell him that hell doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. He'll be like, oh yeah, it does.
Yes, not the way you see it. Yeah. Not the way extremely religious people see it. Because you can't take the Bible for. I mean, there's a lot of good and bad in the Bible. Yeah. It's just you talk about it and you can get into it forever. Yeah. But I personally don't believe exactly everything, or I believe different things.
Kind of the same thing, maybe like that there's good and evil and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely believe there's good and evil in the world, and the way he was saying it was that it's in your mind. Yeah. It's in your absolute mind, and there's these thoughts that coming that's in different realm or whatever. You can't see it. Yeah, but you can feel it in your mind and in your soul. Yeah. And he's saying, he goes on and talks. He's like, so you're going to be a millwright and you weld a lot. And I was, yeah. And he goes, so explains to me, so you're in the shop. You're in the shop here. Yeah. And you're punching holes in iron for a job, and grinding in half and cutting it in half and everything, cutting it to length. But you're grinding the holes in the wrong spot. And you're cutting the holes in the wrong spot, and you're grinding the lengths wrong, and you're cutting the lengths wrong. Yeah. So, just so happens, and your boss is over here the whole time in his office, Yeah. Not doing anything, just in his office. You guys are working away. When you do that, all of a sudden, your boss, what happens? Can you tell me if this has ever happened? Just maybe this might have happened to you, and it can be many different circumstances, not just what I explained, but the second that happens, he comes, feel like I should go off, check the, check what's going on, just what's going on or whatever, and you're drilling in the same spot. How did he know that something was going on? Yeah. He just had a feeling. Yeah. He's saying it's like a connection. Yeah. Something's going wrong over here, and so he's basically said he's coming knocking on, walking over from what you're doing, and tattling on you essentially to him. But it just
put the idea in his head,
the most basic form you could possibly But
I could say that's happened to me. Even like welding, I'm thinking of that, standing by the bandsaw and like cutting all this metal. And then I kind of start doubting myself. I'm like, oh shit, am I cutting these right? Then I kind of start to panic, and then I'm like looking at the door. I'm like, oh crap, I hope my boss doesn't walk in right now. I'm like measuring, and then sure enough,
every
boom,
time
comes in. And then
when
like, oh shit, and you're like, oh, this is the last piece like this. You know, you're like, oh crap, we're not getting another thing of metal till like Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, and this has to be done tomorrow, and I just ruined all this metal. And yeah, it's like that vibe that you feel like, yeah, like
in any in any job. Anyway,
yeah, that's just an example. Yeah,
and it just maybe even just a little bit too, and just somehow you're just like, but yeah, or. Yeah. And yeah.
That's crazy. So that homeless guy. So that's so crazy. That's such an awesome story.
Well,
that's why, like, I don't know. I always feel guilty. Like, not always, but like I think probably 1 week ago, I was riding my bike to work, and I see like all kinds of homeless people like everywhere. And I was sitting at this intersection, like I was sitting at the crosswalk, and at this crosswalk you have to wait for the lights to turn red, and then you can go across, even though it's just like, it's not an intersection, it's just one road, and then you have to wait for the lights to let pedestrians cross the crosswalk. And I'm sitting there. Usually I just go because there's like hardly any traffic right now, but it was busy enough that I couldn't go. And then there was this, maybe not a homeless guy, but he was like a really sketchy guy walking towards me. And I was like, oh crap. And I was like, I couldn't go because the traffic's like pretty bad. And he's shaved bald, and he has tattoos like all over his head and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go and stuff, because he needs to cross the street too. And he comes next to me, and we're both I'm like sitting there kind of leaning on my bike. And then he's like, this damn light always takes so long. And he sounds completely normal. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm waiting for this light all the time. And he's like, yeah, don't go until it says go. He's like, always wait for it, even if it doesn't look, if it doesn't look busy, make sure you should just wait for the light or whatever, just to be safe and stuff like that. And I was like, and then it changed right there, and then I started pedaling away, and then the whole time, probably the rest of the ride there, I was like, man, when this guy was walking towards me, I was like, I didn't want to have anything to do with him. I was like thinking about just like trying to chance it across this busy road. And then when he comes up to me, he's like just complete normal dude, like maybe just had some crazy things happen to him in his life and stuff. But it was like probably one of many times in my life where I've been like, oh crap, like just judging somebody
right off the hop,
just judging him off the hop.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I know. And every single time it happens, I'm like, I did it again. And I know part of it is kind of like a defense
sometimes thing. But if you immediately, like, if you have no expectations whatsoever when they walk up, and you just look at that person and you just read their body language, and you can tell sometimes they may be just nervous because they're walking up to someone and they're like, crap, this person thinks I'm fucking
they might be thinking, he may have been already knew what I was thinking. He probably did. And he knows he's covered in tattoos all over his head and stuff, but
it's up to that person to make the
olive branch, or like how he started talking,
reach out to you and be a good person, because everyone holds the capability to do evil things, but that's what draws the line. There's some people they succumb to it, and so they just do it out of spite. They steal, and it makes them feel good, or they rob someone and it makes them feel good. But majority of people aren't like that. Like
maybe somebody else would have seen, maybe I had a look on my face, and then he's going, he thinks I'm a crazy guy. And I'll show him that I'm a crazy guy. How's that? Or whatever, just out of, like you said, out of spite or something. But that's like the yin and yang symbol is like kind of, like the yin and yang symbol. So it's got like the S through the middle. It's a circle, and then black on one side, white on one side, and then a little black dot in the white and a little white dot in the black. And it's like kind of like that homeless guy was saying, there's like good and evil and everything like that. And then I think the idea with that symbol is like everybody has good and evil in them and stuff like that. But even the good has this little dot of evil in it, and then the bad has this little dot of good in it too.
And the good can overcome the evil too, and the bad can overcome the good.
And then maybe it's not. You can't have one without
all in
the
your
other.
mind.
And yeah, it's all in your mind.
It's what you decide to do. And sometimes you're forced to take the wrong route. There are situations in life, where you're forced to take the wrong route.
Yeah.
The only route that you can't take, though, and it may be the bad route too.
Yeah.
And I mean, in not even maybe like the huge scales, but like in different levels too, obviously. And,
yeah. Yeah, and everything you do, like it could be like
it's a decision.
Like, should I take the last potato chip? Like, I'm gonna take it. It's mine. You're like, I'm one evil son of a bitch.
There's only one.
Yeah, but there's levels to it. Like, so it goes from like all the way down to that to like to like the craziest, like
to possibly like genocide.
Genocide is like that's like the worst. The worst thing I can think of.
War and all these different scales. Yeah.
I was thinking, do you remember in high school when we would go fishing? Sometimes at lunch we'd be like, well, we just have like science class after this. So we should just go fishing. Yeah. And we'd like we'd like text Connor.
Why do you think I didn't graduate? Yeah. Heck yeah.
But those were like, it's weird thinking back to those days and like how it was just awesome. And going fishing and
but we were doing a bad thing.
Yeah. See, that's the weird part. Yeah, like so skipping a class to go fishing. But if I think there's a lot of people who would say do that.
But if we didn't, then would we have become friends still? But obviously, well, maybe. But if who knows?
We probably learned way more about, like, let's say, because I think it was biology class was our science class. I think. I can't remember.
I think it was science.
Oh yeah, just
science and woodworking.
Yeah, science. Yeah.
And gym too.
And gym phys ed.
Yes.
What was that one phys ed teacher's name? There's Bunsbury, but I don't think we had her. Or Bunbury.
I can't remember her name, but I remember her.
Do you remember the older one though?
Yeah, the chick that we had.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. No, I can't remember.
She was always just like. She was always just like awful.
I think she was. Wasn't she a substitute sometimes?
Oh, I think so.
Maybe she was just a substitute a couple times.
Yeah.
Talk about people that don't care.
I got a good story. Remember that one girl in our phys ed class? And you thought she looked like that one girl in a in a Playboy magazine you had.
All right. Oh, this is some incriminating evidence. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Well, she did look identical.
She did.
And so I brought the poor Megan and showed her, and she's like, okay.
I remember that. I remember the whole image in my head. It was like out in the hallway, like outside of the change rooms in the phys ed area.
I thought it was out. No, it was out in the volleyball court outside.
Oh, okay, maybe I don't remember. And then you pulled it out of your backpack.
Well, I told her I was gonna bring it in and show her, and she's like, "No way!" And I'm like, "She's like, no, she doesn't look like me." And I'm like, "Do you want me to bring?" She's like, "Yeah." So I brought it in, I was like, "Okay."
And Slurpees used to get slushy every single day. That was the best.
Good times. But there's always, and it's funny because we're back to skipping school. Yeah. Just like doing something wrong, or but technically, is it really wrong? I mean,
like
it's wrong in someone else's eyes, but we all think differently, right?
Yeah, skipping class to go do something like fishing.
And even Bond, I am a better person today because of people like you, and just knowing people like you, and that's what I said.
Me too. Yeah, like I'm a better person because of my friends who are like you.
You know,
Absolutely.
keep your friends close.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
But don't just befriend every person you meet on the street and act
Yeah.
like they're not going to rob you or
Yeah.
do something bad, even if they may do something bad. Just,
Yeah.
you know, you be smart.
Yeah, see, like,
You don't judge people so quick.
yeah,
It's
don't,
another-
yeah, you gotta find this happy medium, like, because you could judge people quick, and then you could also be, I'm gonna be this
Overthinking
guy's
things.
friend. I'm gonna be this guy's friend
And you-
immediately.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta find like the spot in between. Like even our neighbor here, that guy is kind of a douche. And like, see, you met him for the first time. Just
Yeah. I
Like, what
parked my
happened?
truck out there. There's
Like
perfect
Cole was
parking.
telling
He's
you.
got this huge driveway, you know,
Yeah.
long driveway, and there's a perfect spot
Yeah.
right in front of his house.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent spot, you know. It's long enough for my truck to be fit comfortably. He like comes out and he like makes a turn. He's like comes up beside me. He's like, "Yeah, do you think you could, not park there?" He's like, "That's in front of my house," and
Yeah.
he's like comes up with a story about why it'd be bad. Why I couldn't park there. I mean,
What was he saying?
He was like saying, you know, that he's like, it's gonna be harder for me to park there later.
Oh.
And I was like, just back it in my mind. Like, what the heck, man? Like I back into the spot. My apartment is just like tighter than a heck, and my like next door neighbor.
Yeah.
She parked her car the first day she moved in there, and it was like diagonal in the stall and like super close to my side. And there's like a pillar right beside, and I gotta back this thing in there because I cannot drive it in there at all. But you can back a truck up with nothing. And anyway, so I turn around, park down the other side of the road, and he was saying, he was like, yeah, because he's like, those asshole neighbors of mine, they don't know how to park their van. They park like idiots or something like that. I'm like, those are my friends. What are you talking about? I'm just like, okay, bud. Good first impression.
Yeah, what the hell?
But
yeah, that guy's like.
But you know, he could be a gem too. You never know.
I don't know, like.
But in a sense,
he's making me nervous.
Yeah.
Because he does seem like kind of sketchy.
Of course.
And like. Well, but like when I'm in the back alley and talk to him, usually he seems pretty nice. But then like last night at like close to 10 p.m. he's like doing construction like right in his alley like with this loud I don't know what it was, like a skill saw. And it was just like leaning on it, just like wah! Just like for 20 minutes or something. And then I could hear somebody was yelling at him. And I couldn't hear the person yelling at him, but I could hear his responses to it. And he's like, bylaw says I can go till 11 p.m. So I'm going till 11 p.m. He's like, fucking idiot. He's like, keeps on going and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this guy's problem? He keeps on quoting like bylaws and stuff. Like when he asked Cole to move his van, and Cole did, he's like, oh, okay, I'll start parking back a little bit further away from your driveway. And then after Cole's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. He's like, yeah, bylaw says 6 feet away from the entrance of a driveway or whatever. He keeps on like bringing out these bylaws. I'm pretty sure he's a drug dealer. So I'm like, well, what does the bylaw say about dealing drugs? Or do you just like pick the laws that help you out, benefit you?
No kidding, right? Talking about abuse of the system.
But a good like parking story is like we were at the Westin here in Edmonton setting up for a show, like an event. And like the event's about to start, and I have to like, and then I get a call back at the shop that they had forgotten. I think they needed like a laptop or something. The laptop that they were trying to like load a presentation into, the laptop crapped out or whatever, and then like the show's about to start. So I'm like, oh shit! So I grab the laptop, throw it in the van, and I head to the Westin. And we always park up against like, there's like, so the Westin Hotel's here, or let's say right here. Then there's like the parking lot, and then there's like an alleyway right kind of here, and then everybody parks on the other side of the alleyway. So it's like the parking area, the alleyway, and the Westin. And we're always told, like in like vehicles loading in and stuff, they always just park up against the Westin. And then vehicles that are nosed in here, they can get out, but they just have to turn a couple times to get out. But you can get out.
Yeah.
So I park there. I run upstairs, as soon as I get upstairs, I get a phone call from our office, and it's Charlene, like our front desk lady, and she's like, she says, we just got a call from a lady that you've boxed her in, and she doesn't sound very happy or something. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. And I literally like parked and went up, so it hasn't been 5 minutes yet. It hasn't even been 5 minutes. It's been like maybe like 3 minutes. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I'm like, I like come down. So I come down, I see the van, and there's like nothing. There's like nobody around or anything. I'm like walking, and I'm like kind of like looking back and forth. I'm like, as I'm walking towards the van, I'm like looking into the stalls and like looking into the mirrors of the vehicles to see if there's like anybody in like sitting inside the vehicle. And then finally there's like, and it's like a huge space. The space is like almost as big as this room is long, like to back up and stuff. There's like plenty of room. And I like walk over, and I see this girl in her like white, it's like a white, really nice Acura SUV. And I'm like, I look at the Acura, and then I like look at the van, and then I like kind of like look at the space in between. I'm not trying to be like a dick, but I'm like looking at the space. I'm like looking at her vehicle and stuff. And then right when I start doing that, she gets out and she just loses her mind. She's like, you think you can fucking park that? I have to go with that. And she's like, holy. I'm like, I can't even get a word in. So I just kind of start talking. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I keep calling her ma'am. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, I didn't know what to say. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's exactly what the homeless man said too, dude.
And then and then what she said though, she was like, this was the best line I've ever heard ever. She goes, I asked 3 different men to try to back this out, and none of them could do it. That's what she said. And I was like, I wanted so bad, because I knew I could have gotten it out. I wanted so bad to be like, can I try? Please, 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 can I try? But she was like, she was thermonuclear. Yeah. I was like, if I had said that, she probably would have like attacked me. So I just got in the vehicle, and then I backed up. And I was kind of laughing. I started chuckling because she was like so over the top that I kind of started chuckling and had like a shit-eating grin on my face. Because she was just like berating me. And then I got in the vehicle, and I was still kind of like had this like smile on my face because I was kind of like, holy crap, what is wrong? So I back up. She backs up. So the rear end of her vehicle is facing the front of the van, and then I just see her like middle finger up in the air, like in the back window, and I was just like, smile and wave, boys. But
like, what could have caused that? Because you said you were there for.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even 5 minutes. So like she lied about the guys.
Unless there was like, but it's probably probably not, but it could have still been like maybe you hadn't. Maybe just showed up after someone pulled off, like left, and she was inside.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it could have. It could have been. It's so long ago that I don't. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
That'd be funny. Then you pull in, and it's like a true
finally story. I can get out, and I'm just like. But I don't know. Like I was like, why the hell? And I didn't tell anybody when I got to the shop. Mm-hmm. I was like, she's probably having a bad day or whatever. I'm like, why else would somebody like explode like that? Mm-hmm. I was like, this is the part that upsetted me the most about it, because I wasn't gonna tell anybody about it. I was just gonna be like, oh yeah, it was fine. She was just a little bit upset or whatever. I wasn't even gonna say that. I was only gonna say that if somebody asked me when I got back to the shop. So I get back to the shop. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, I'm unloading some stuff out of the van or like cleaning up or something. And then my friend Kelly, my supervisor, comes up to me, and he goes, that lady called back again, and she said you were laughing at her, and making fun of her and stuff. And then I was like, that's just like, so shocked, ignorant. Because I was in the opposite side. I was like, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. She had a bad day. Benefit of the doubt. Whatever. So just water off my back. And then when I heard she was that, I was like, she was fucking screaming at me. She was swearing at me. I was just saying, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I said, I may have chuckled because there was nothing I could do. She was just like.
And then, isn't that funny? Because then when you do something like that too, it just enrages them more.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you. I don't know. I know
I think
some.
she was cheating on her husband. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Nah, and then I was. That's what I think. Well, like, why was she at the Westin in the middle of the afternoon? I don't know. That's just the thought. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah. Just got found out.
Yeah. I think maybe she was like supposed to be home, like, or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when it's funny how you can turn something like that into like a funny situation.
Yeah. No, I was upset. Though.
Yeah.
I wasn't upset until I got to the shop, and then I heard she had called back again, and then she was saying things like, she may have even called back again after that, and she was trying to get like reparations. She was like, I think a company like yours, something like that happens to somebody.
That's
I think,
evil.
Yeah. I was like, that's how you
dirty.
got that accurate.
No kidding, right?
Yeah. But it happens.
Yeah, some people are just like that.
Yeah. But I still like to try to give like the benefit. Like, I don't think anybody, like, she didn't do that for no reason. Whether it was a good reason or a bad reason, there was a reason behind her exploding like that. And the reason may have had nothing to do with me, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Who knows? Like, what's, like, somebody said, like, whenever somebody explodes like that on somebody else, it's because they had the same amount of, like, bad
something coming into them,
onto them, and you always gotta pass it on.
And
like,
you can't handle that. And it's, but you can make a choice though. You can let it bother you, or you can...
Yeah, or you could let it out some other way. Like,
yeah,
you could,
just let it flow right through you.
You might have to figure out a way, but...
In one ear, out the other too, sometimes.
Yeah, which is what I was, like, trying to do when she did it to me.
But then she just continues, and then that just... So the best thing you could do to someone like that, I mean, we all know people like that, and when they come unglued on you, is just to not let it act like it bothers you at all.
Yeah.
And it makes them way madder.
Like you were saying, your old boss, like, was your old boss like that?
No, my I don't want to say.
Oh, you don't want to say?
Someone I know. Yeah, just no. It just comes unglued, They do absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're just that's the reason they think it's okay, and they're just like, they think that's how they get power and position in the world, is by acting like that. And in a sense, when you that's how it is though.
Yeah.
You gotta. I'm sure there's a lot of business owners and people, and the mentality that you have to step on people's heads to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, and that's why,
Yeah, some people are just like...
There's decisions you have to make that sometimes, things that... But that's not how a good business owner should do things.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you do have to, like, do something you don't want to do, you can go about it. You can go about it in a way that isn't, kicking somebody in the nuts.
Yeah. You can be a man about it.
Yeah.
And act like a,
You could tell the truth, like, because some people, maybe just explode to try to... They want you to quit or something.
They think, they want you to...
Instead of,
maybe,
like,
or they want you to... that's how they show that they have authority. Yeah. Because they're, like, power hungry, But there's a lot of power hungry people in the world. Yeah. But you can't, you can't avoid that. You gotta avoid them too. Like, you gotta just... that's what they are, and some of those people are extremely two-faced, and they look good on the surface, and then but as soon as you pick one of their many bones, they just you feel the wrath. Yeah,
I had this when I was in Australia. I had this job for, I think I worked there for 3 days, and it was this like a pet food / farm animal food warehouse. And so my job there was I was just doing sweeping, like lots of sweeping, because there's hay everywhere and grains from leaking from all these bags, so you're sweeping constantly. you're sweeping constantly, but my main job was a car would come in, they would go inside to the front, they'd say, I want this chicken food or whatever. I want to buy 4 bags of this chicken food. Then while they were paying for it, somebody would call in on the radio, they would call me and they would say 4 bags of this food. And I'm like in the back, and then so they have an Australian accent coming through the shitty radio. And then I'm like kind of panicking because I'm like new. And then I'm this huge warehouse, bags I have no idea like where anything is. And then they're like, grab this one. But the boss, so that's not so much the problem. I could be like, oh, where's that one? They'd be like, oh, over here. But when the boss was in, and out of the 3 days, he was in for 2 days, the 2 last days that I worked there. And if the boss could see you, he was yelling at you. If the boss could see you, no matter what you were doing, he was yelling at you because you weren't doing, and like swearing and like, hurry up, and just like,
what?
And like calling you an idiot and stuff. He's like, you idiot, you fucking hurry up, and like shit like that. Just like losing his mind. And then, so imagine that, like, so you're like, grab this chicken food number 37 or something. And then so I'm like, oh crap, okay, this one. So first of all, I'm trying to remember what it is. And then that guy's yelling at you, like screaming at you to hurry up and stuff. And then you're like putting it on this little dolly, trying to like load them up on a dolly. And then you have to get out, and you're usually if you're doing it like at the right speed, you're like coming out of the warehouse as that person's walking back to their vehicle. And then you're like, oh, and then they kind of see you, and then you help them load it into their car or their truck, and then they go. But yeah, that guy was he's the biggest douchebag ever. And I was like working, I think it was the last day that I worked for him. I was with him the entire day. We were like picking up hay bales from this farm. And just like when we were driving, like in the vehicle together riding, there was just like this huge tension because he was like being kind of normal and stuff. But at the same time, it was like he knew that he's like a complete douche. Like he knows that he's like screaming at people and stuff. But now all of a sudden he's like inside the vehicle. And like 30 seconds before, he was like making me put the straps on the empty flat deck when we were leaving the shop. And he's like, he does one like super fast, and then there's like 2 more, and he's like, hurry the fuck up. He's like, hurry up, do it. And then I'm like,
drill sergeant.
Yeah, like I could do it. But like with somebody screaming at me like that, I was like, I can't do it. So I'm like starting to like, and he's like, and then he's like throwing your hands out of the way. He's like, do it like this, fuck, faster. You need to go faster. I'm like, holy fuck. And then the last one, he started doing it again. I just dropped it, and I'm like, no, you do it or whatever. And then he like puts it on. And he's just like steaming, like absolutely steaming. And then we're in the vehicle together, and then he's like, so where are you from? And blah blah blah, trying to have like this normal conversation. Then we get to the farm, and we're throwing these big square hay bales like off of this giant pile, and it's like inside this giant barn. And we're at the very top of the pile and throwing them, and he's like, try to throw them so they land on the flat deck. And I'm getting most of them, but every single time one misses, he's like losing his mind. Shit like that every single time I miss. And then getting back to normal in the vehicle again. Get back to the warehouse, and then as soon as I get out, he's like freaking out at me to stack the hay bales.
Maybe that's just how he was, he learned, whoever taught him, because go ahead.
He like got a phone call. He got a phone call like on the way back with this guy. And I think even when he saw the name, he's like, oh, fuck, this fucking idiot. And then the answer's like, hey, man, or whatever, and stuff like this. And then the guy on the phone, he's like, you know what? You're an asshole. You know that? And then he's like, yes, but I'm very good at being an asshole, is what he said. I remember that. He said that on the phone. And I was like, and at that point, I was kind of like, okay, like maybe I shouldn't be taking this so like seriously, the way he's freaking out at me. But then even then, right after that, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And then at the end of the day, I was like, I fucking quit. I didn't say that to him.
And he's all nice to you.
I was like thinking this. I was like, yeah, he's like starts walking across. I'm like in my little camper van getting ready to go, and he's like walking across, and he's like, hey, the last 3 days you've been doing really good. You're working really hard and blah, blah, blah. And this, I was like, I felt really good.
Yeah,
I was like, okay. I was like, okay. But then when I got back to to the hostel, I was like, I don't want to go back. Like this is like, it's like hell going to this place, this guy. Like I'm dreading it. I'm dreading going back. And then and the problem was like in my head, like I've never done that. Like I've never started a job, didn't like it a little bit, and then left.
Yeah.
Like I've started jobs that I didn't like, and I've worked there for like a year, a couple of years, you know, and like grinded through it because I was like, I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna be the guy who quits because of this. And then in 3 days, I was like, I'm gonna do it, and it was like such a moral thing that I had to like a hurdle for me, like quitting this job because of this asshole. But I just did it. I was like, and it was like the best thing in the world. I was like, yep, I'm just not gonna go. Tomorrow I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm gonna do something else.
That's the best feeling in the world when you're like, fuck that asshole.
The best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna call him. I'm just like, I won't be there. And he'll be like, shit.
I've had jobs I've literally quit within 4 hours of working it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. 4 hours.
Yeah.
You're like, I ain't working for you.
Yeah.
I'm out.
That's awesome. Although I haven't had like a lot of bad jobs, but that's like all my Australian jobs were shit.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, no, except for one when I was like working on that like this really nice, and then they ended up like letting me go because they wanted a local working there instead.
Oh, okay.
They kind of like the owner is like this chalet, like honeymoon resort type thing, like all these little tiny cabins like attached to this vineyard, and my job was just to sweep the leaves off the wooden walkways that looked kind of like this. Like, sweep the leaves, like super easy to do that. Pick up all the little branches off like the breakfast area, like. So you'd get there in the morning. They're like, okay, before the guests wake up, you have to sweep everything, because leaves are like constantly falling there. There's like all these different like tropical like trees and stuff. So you have to get there super early, like I think 6 a.m. And I had my own little work truck and stuff. So get there. So the first thing I would do, I'll just start at the beginning. First thing I would do is I would park my van at this little workshop. I'd go to the back of the workshop. There's a bunch of chickens in a cage. I'd open up the little chicken cage, and then they would run out. Then I would throw a bunch of chicken feed, and then the chickens would start eating. Then I would hop in the work truck. I had like my own little Ford flat deck mini work truck, and I would like drive down this path around this pond. Then I would come up to like all these swans and geese like on the road, and then so I'd stop at the geese, and then there was this big giant bin, and I would open up the lid and I had a bunch of food for them. So then I would like throw the food like away from the path and kind of feed them. So like feed the ducks and the swans and stuff. I would get back in the truck. Then I would drive to this other workshop kind of behind the chalet, like in all these cabins and stuff. Then I would grab my broom, grab a broom and a rake. Then I would go to like the breakfast spot, and there'd be all these branches and leaves all over the outdoor breakfast area. So then I would like, and you'd like haul ass to like clean it, because you have to be finished cleaning before any of the guests wake up. Any like the honeymooners. So you like do that, and then you sweep the yard as best you can too. And then all these like little hammock spots, like these little gazebos with hammocks. So you go in quick and you're like wiping cobwebs off the top and everything, and like just trying to go as quick as you can. Like if there's like a leaf like stuck and you can't get it in like 2 swipes, you're like, okay, gotta keep going, because there's like you gotta get to the other places. So like, and then you go to like each little cabin, and you have to be like super quiet, and then you like sweep. So then once you get all that stuff done for like these honeymooners to wake up, once you've done that, then I would go to I forget what her name is. Go to like the one lady who hired me, and then she would give me a list of room numbers that were empty. So usually there'd be like three little cabins that were empty. So then I would go in there, and then my job with those rooms would be to sweep their back patios off, like, and get all the cobwebs and stuff, because there's like spiders everywhere. So get all the cobwebs, then wash the windows, like wipe the window, then squeegee the window, and then go to the next spot. And these little cabins were so awesome. They all had like little hot tubs inside the cabins. Then they all had like each cabin. I think there was 12 little cabins, and they had all of them had a back deck, and the view from the back deck, you couldn't see like any of the other decks, and it was like these vineyards all the way around, and you could see like sheep and stuff like that. And they'd have like a little hammock and these like super comfy chairs, and like almost all of them, I think like half of them had like these like awesome outdoor showers and stuff too. And then so like while I was cleaning the back decks, then there'd be like a cleaning lady in the room getting the room ready and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the best job ever, and I worked there I think like 4 days. And like I was getting paid $26 an hour to do that, and I could work as long as I got like the major stuff done. I could stay like I could stay and keep like take garbage out and like do like odd job stuff as long as I wanted. And then yeah, then I would hop back in my van, go back to my campsite, and then I eventually had a bike, and I could just like bike to that spot. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And then they're like, yeah, we have to let you go. We need a local person. And I don't think it was because, I'm pretty sure I was doing my job well, but there was like the owner of the place.
They got to have a certain amount of in-country people.
Well, it was like, I was replacing somebody who was leaving, and that person was like, he like lived in a house like right next to there.
Oh, okay.
And he was like there, and then I had already told the one lady just thought she just had to hire somebody. And then she hired me, and then they kind of found out, like from me talking, like, oh, I'm going to work here for a little while, and then I'm going to travel this way or that way or whatever. And then they're like, oh, shit. So then, so then they had to hire somebody else. But if I would have known what I know now, I would be like, I'll just live there and stay there and do this job for like a year or 2 years or something. It would have been amazing. Like to do that for like 2 years. Yeah. Making $26 an hour.
Not spending money on hardly anything.
Yeah.
You know?
And like the job I had before that was picking grapes, and I only picked grapes for like 3 days as well. And that was like just the worst.
Picking grapes?
Yeah, picking grapes. Like it's like super hard work. I worked 6 hours one day, and I got paid $30. I paid $30. I think it cost me $30 in gas to get there and back.
Because you get based on how many grapes you pick or something? Oh, goodness. Gracious.
And like, since I'm like I don't know what I'm doing, and there's like all these other like German backpackers, and like they're like these Germans and like Swedish and like Japanese, and like they're so quick. They're so quick, and it's ruthless. And you're like filling this bucket.
The grape picking industry, cutthroat.
Yeah, it is. But you're like, because they put these stacks of empty baskets like throughout the whole thing. Like the farmer does that before. So then the backpackers are going, and you get paid per basket you fill. So people are like they're running into other aisles and stealing like as many empty ones as they can. Really? So you're finished picking your bucket,
and you'll get them.
You're like, I think we're getting. I remember one time we were getting $2.50 a bucket, $2.50 a bucket, and it's like taking me a little while to fill it. And then, so I'll like get that one. I'm like, okay, $2.50. I'm like, fuck, it's been an hour. I made fucking $5. So I'm like getting kind of pissed off. And then I'm like, and then not only that, but I'll finish picking one, and then I'm spending like 15 minutes looking for an empty basket, and then I'll see one, and I'm like fucking running to it, and then like some Japanese girl will be like, take it or something. I'm like, no. And then on top of that, there's bees and wasps everywhere.
And you ate bees and wasps.
And like every single bunch of grapes I'm like reaching for, there's like 3 bees on it, or 3 wasps on it. And I'm like just having to bear with it. I was like, oh my god. I'm like just like grabbing it, putting it in. Sometimes I'd have the bucket like 4 feet away from me, and I'm like picking the grapes and tossing them in, because the more grapes you get in your bucket, the more bees and wasps like swarm it. It was the worst. But then when I got that one job at that honeymoon resort, I remember it was like the second day I was working there. It was like pouring rain, and I was sitting in my work truck, and I had a cup of coffee, and I was drinking my coffee, listening to the radio, and out in the vineyard in the distance, I could see all these backpackers picking grapes, and I was like, I'm getting paid $26 an hour. Suckers.
Oh. That's funny.
So that was the best job I had when I was in Australia, for sure. But it didn't last long, but it's still a good experience, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever go back?
I think so. I feel like there's so many other countries that I want to go see other ones. But yeah, like only saw such a small piece of Australia that I don't know. There's so many other countries. It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
There truly are.
If you could go to any country, which would it be?
Like one country and that was it?
What's like where would you, if you, just like a
country?
A place you really want to go,
Yeah.
you'd like to see.
I've always wanted to see Tiananmen Mountain Road in China, northern
Tiananmen
China.
Mountain Road?
Yeah.
Why is that? Where's?
It's in northern China.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly
What's
what's by.
Why do you want to see it?
It just looks amazing. I've always liked it since I was a kid. Seen pictures of it. There's certain pictures that you see when you're a child, you know, or like posters or something.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I always used to have this New Zealand poster in the basement.
Yeah.
Which just made me want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like this American couple said Banff was the nicest. They were telling me all these countries they've been to. They've been to like almost all of them basically, and they were saying the most beautiful place they ever saw was in Banff National Park. And then they said that one got recently knocked off the list when they went to China during like this one season where all these like flowers are like all like pink and purple and stuff. And then they said that one was knocked it off the list.
That'd be cool to go see places like that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go down to Oregon too.
Oregon? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the States. I travel all over the States.
Yeah, so they were American and they were saying that was like the first thing they did before they started going to other countries. They went to every single state.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were like, so much to see in America, just going to all the different states. Like it's basically 50 different countries all wrapped
pretty much
into one.
Mm-hmm.
Which state? So Oregon you'd like to go to?
Mm-hmm. I'd like to go to, all
Alaska.
Huh?
Alaska would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, do you know who you remind me of right now? Have you seen The Wild? Call of the Wild?
Call of the Wild?
Have you seen the movie Call of the Wild?
Yeah. No, I've never seen the movie.
You look like the main character.
I know.
As somebody else. Have you been told that?
Yeah, I've been told that. And this is only when I start growing my hair out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. You got to see that movie. It's amazing.
Call of the Wild.
And that's like this kid, he's like graduates college or university or something. And then he decides to get rid of everything he owns. Burns his driver's license. It's based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just starts like walking basically and like hitchhiking and all this, like riding on trains and stuff. And the goal is to walk like all the way to get to Alaska is the plan. Just get to Alaska and live in Alaska. Yeah.
Just watch the movie.
Yeah, you should.
Who's in it? Do you know? I don't know.
Crap, I can't.
Actually, my buddy that recently passed away, one of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't an accident, but it was his name. Yeah. He always told me that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Which friend was that?
I'm having a brain fart right now.
Yeah, you totally look like him. I gotta show you. I'm gonna show you a picture. I'm gonna show the camera. It's like crazy how much you look like him. Yeah, Call of the Wild, and like backpackers would always talk about. That's why I watched it, because that's kind of like a kind of backpacker movie. That they would always be like talking about it. Call of the Wild. Damn it, maybe that's a new one. I think it's just called The Wild. It just could be called The Wild. Crap, I don't know what the name of the damn movie is. Anyways, you look just like him. Damn.
Not sure if
it's on Netflix now. But yeah, it's a pretty amazing movie.
Well, if he's handsome, then I guess he did look like him.
He gets with Or no, he almost gets with Kristen Stewart's in the movie. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yep. Hell yeah, I'm glad you're on here. Holy shit, we're already past an hour. We're at an hour and 10 minutes. Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, but you gotta.
You'll have to come on again. Yeah. Crap, that went too fast.
It really does go fast. Eh?
Did you have anything that you wanted to? Because I can edit quicker now. So if you had anything. I know it's hard to think of something when somebody just asks you to tell a story.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think is your number one thing?
Number one
favorite thing in the world.
Favorite thing in the world. I was trying to, when you were telling that story about the homeless guy. I think yeah, like close friends and family immediately comes to mind. Cole, my brother. Aw. Yeah, thinking of you guys, like all my closest friends and my parents.
What all those things bring you? What all those things bring you? The number one emotion that you feel?
Man.
Because of those people.
Because of those people. I would say I don't know what the emotion is, but a lot of times, like when we're together, like even right now, I always think of like how amazing it is that, or how great it is that we're friends and like we're like really good friends. And just like, what are the chances that we both got to meet each other and be friends, and stuff like that. And I think how amazing it is. And then when if it's like you and Connor and Clint and Victor and all the other guys, it's like let's say we're all like sitting around a fire, which we've done many times, and sometimes when we're sitting there, I'm thinking all of our lives right now are intersecting around this fire. Like all of our lives, everything we've been through and everything is all intersecting right now. And it'll probably only intersect, not a lot of times in our life. It seems like when you're young, it seems like, oh, we're doing this every weekend. And then it starts happening less and less. And then you start kind of seeing like how crazy it is, And so then even just me and you sitting together right now, how crazy it is that we get to like have this connection. Our paths get to intersect. And so like, I don't know, I think I have like a feeling of joy when I think of that. Think of like, I don't know,
happiness,
love
and happiness.
Yeah, love and happiness. Yeah,
I just love life.
Because it's just like,
it's funny. Another thing that the homeless man told me, he said, "There's only two people." He asked me, he's like, "You got a mom and a dad?" I said, "Yeah." And everyone's got a mom and a dad, right? And he said, the two people that you will only truly ever understand fully 100%, 99% of the time, is your parents, your mother and your father, and your mother, because they're the only thing you've ever known. And sometimes that doesn't happen, but to truly understand them and the way they think and the way they feel and what drives them to do what they do. Sometimes you may not understand it, but a lot of times you do understand it because they raised you. And they taught you that. And that's not your brothers, your sisters. Sometimes maybe you have pieces of your brothers and your sisters and your friends and everything. Other people that, got crossed into your life from the point of birth. But that's the thing is too, and the reason why we're friends is because we still don't truly like understand each other. We can never truly understand what someone's going through someone's mind, but you can understand why they are the way they are. and respect that.
Yeah.
And love that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Like, because you wouldn't, we're not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
We're like pretty different people. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're friends,
Yeah.
Like, we're both good people.
Yeah.
But we're both different,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah. How two people can, from two different people can, like, two different families can be, come together and just,
Yeah.
you can often think of what your life would be like if, you didn't meet someone.
Yeah.
Or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way things could go in which direction.
Yeah.
And that's another cool thing too, is what also I want to say is that sometimes you need a little bit of, evil and chaos in your life. Sometimes you just need to do something bad to let off steam, like that lady that you may or may not have been cheating on her wife, that come unglued on you. Sometimes you just need to.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what's in your path at that point, but and sometimes it's just, some people crave it.
Yeah.
And some people, they, it could be, and there's obviously bad things too. Like, there's a lot of bad things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The old man also was saying, he said something about when, like, Satan fell from heaven or whatever, and he brought along pieces, and those pieces are of stuff in our world that affect us negatively. Those little links to make us go down bad, and that's stress, and anxiety, and hate, and resentment, and drugs, and all the little things that he said it's like a scratch. Sorry. But it's like a scratch, and then it's an itch, and then it's right in the back. Could turn
into
full blown, you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't also depend on the scale either. It could be something really small or something really massive.
Yeah.
And it's always a split-second decision too.
Mm-hmm.
But it ultimately comes down to what you got in here.
Yeah. I'm glad you came on.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome. We'll do it again.
Yeah, next time. Yeah.
I hope you meet some more of these old sages in your travels.
It's just funny how it happened, like 10 minutes maybe from your house, but just down on the, like, I dropped off my friend, turned around, and yeah.
I'm glad you shared that wisdom. It's like pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing. Okay. Adios, bro.